it. So I have it, and I will make sure I have it, and I will read it to you. And I want to tell you it's an example of somebody being both right and wrong, and I'll show you why. And it's important, and you want to hear this. Right? A lot of this that you're going to hear, you've heard other people say before. So none of it is new. But I need to share it from the perspective of people sharing stuff, saying stuff, right? And I want to be careful to not come across like I'm taking him apart. It's not my intention. It's not my intention to take him apart. You know, I would really like to share the fact that I am live with my WhatsApp groups so that they know that I am. So if you would tolerate me 3 minutes to do that, and I'm seeing myself looking down at the phone, and I know it must be coming across rude. I apologize for all of that, but people would like to know. A lot of people like to be in the live when it's live, and you could see I'm feeling a little playful. The name of the live is Wonderful Letter. When I say playful, I mean it's a serious live, but we're not in our comfort zone. We don't have access to all the media equipment. We can't play the music. So normally I would play a song at the start, and the purpose of the song is to disguise my sending out this notification. But it's 10:30, so it's not likely that we're gonna rouse people, but at least they know that we're here. Now I could let it slide, I could let it slide, but I need to answer it, and I need to answer it to you, and I hope to get him, because he's somebody I respect. He's somebody I respect. I think he has a good head. I think that he is bright. I think that he is a patriot. I think that he would be a great technocrat and a good addition, a good technocrat and a great addition to any government. And I would gladly have him on my team. So you know, if I say all of that, I'm not trying to take him apart, but I'm going to take what he said apart. And it's important. Now you all know, like, his name is Steve Alvarez. But I'm saying it like I say this, right? You all know Gary Griffith is my real batch. I look out for the man. He's helped me a lot. I've helped him a lot. We've known each other since school days. I think he's a real good guy. He is a patriot. I think he's an amazing technocrat where national security issues are concerned. I don't think we will, for a very long time, have somebody of his capability. And while Trinidadians get caught up in the thick of thin things, of how people talk and how they dress and how they comb their hair, the issues that's supposed to attract us always, when we're talking about issues of national security or governance, should be about capacity and capability. That's a story for another time. So just saying that, you know that as take Gary to task, and Gary does real givex, with me for that, but I want to be somebody who is authentic, and I want to be able to say that I'm not giving you a pass if you're my friend. I'm not expecting a pass because I'm your friend. I want us to keep each other, on our best footing. So this is what Mr. Steve Alvarez wrote. I'm going to read it to you first, as if you're reading something that is right, and then I'll tell you why it's wrong. A dose of reality. In 2001, when I started the Democratic Party of Trinidad and Tobago, the aim was to be the party that unites our people and attracts our best minds. That has not changed. Actually, I gotta read this twice if I don't do this. What has happened since then is almost everyone who thinks that they can contribute toward a better Trinidad and Tobago, rather than coming together under one organization, they form political parties grasping for individual attention and media coverage. The failure of third parties in Trinidad and Tobago is perhaps based on the leaders' ignorance of the mathematics. Both the PNM and UNC control about 60 to 70% of the political support of Trinidad and Tobago. That is due in part to loyalty to party and race. Any political party that attracts voters from any one of the two main parties simply enhances the chance of the other to win the majority vote. For a third party to win a general election in Trinidad and Tobago, that party must attract supporters from both major political parties. To be able to do that, it would be necessary to focus on country, not the ills of either party. The ills are already known, and highlighting them does nothing to encourage their supporters to leave their ways. A viable third party must be led by people of integrity, intelligence, varying levels of experience, progressive patriots. The one-person leadership must be replaced with a leadership team. Those who served under previous administrations where there were clouds of impropriety and serious allegations of misconduct in public office must clear their name and indicate to the public that they will not party to the alleged mismanagement of our country. The leader that would be successful in uniting our country and restructuring our country toward peace and prosperity must be capable of winning a series of debates with other potential leaders, thus enhancing his or her public image and demonstrating publicly his or her level of competence. In such light, I challenge all potential, this is Steve Alvarez, I challenge all, for those who come in late, I'm reading something written by Steve Alvarez of DPTT. I challenge all other potential leaders to a series of public debates on television to indicate to the public that they are more than popular persons with sectarian following. For progress and change, there must be a coming together of our best minds. There must be vision, there must be realistic approaches to restructuring the economy. There must be modern local government reform. There must be commitment to return every square inch of the land throughout the country to be a safe place for all our citizens. There are many whose dream is to be Prime Minister. They run after every passing car barking loudly. They garner much more attention than the few focused on solutions. They are not the solutions we seek. We need our thinkers, our youth, our dreamers, and our people to wake up each day with a love of country, to step up and commit to a better tomorrow for everyone. Unity is the key, not a plethora of new political parties. God bless our nation, Steve Alvarez. Now, listening to that, what I just read, sounds rational, reasonable. It sounds sensible. Until you scratch it, until you dig at it. Again, I want to preface, because I know I do carry a big stick. I know that sometimes I don't do precision surgery. So I break a lot of ancillary things. There's a lot of collateral damage. I get that. So I'm going to try my endeavor best to not do that to somebody who I think has a lot to offer. He is misguided. And he's been misguided for a long time. Not in his politics. Actually, in his politics. Not in the things that he wants for the country. In those things, he's spot on. And in his writings, I think he's brilliant. But he doesn't understand politics. And it is why that article, besides the people who are watching this video, that article going nowhere. Nobody is going to read that. He is Mozart playing a piano in the middle of the Sahara Desert by himself. No one is hearing his beautiful music. And he is throwing a tantrum that he can't get people to hear his music. And that's where they go wrong. Now, in his article, and I'll show you where he does this. In his articles, he said when he started in 2001. So what he's trying to say is, he come there first. So anybody who wants to be a third party should come and join with him. As if first is enough reason to be a leader, or that your party should lead the nation. We formed the Progressive Empowerment Party on January 18, 2017. That's 16 years after him. Within that time, we've become, so he's had a 16-year advantage. His party is 21 years old. Our party is 5. But in our 5 years, we've built the Progressive Empowerment Party to be the largest third party in Trinidad and Tobago. We've contested national elections. He has not. We were the third largest political party for the general election just had in 2020. PNM had the most candidates, UNC second, and us third. We had 29. We would have had more. Four didn't make it through. We were at 33, but 4 didn't make it through. We were playing catch up. You see, we don't have drug money. We don't have speculator millions. We literally have to make our money. Felicia Holder and her team has been burning up that phone, begging for $100 and $200 here, and was able to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars by begging and selling barbecue tickets for us to be able to do TV shows and buy airtime and stuff. I'm saying all of this because Steve Alvarez needs to understand. It's not enough to say he come there first. First, arrive in the party first, don't mean nothing. If you're not capable. I've said this to everybody who jump out themselves and say they want to run for prime minister and you want to be the leader. If you cannot build a movement, if you cannot attract people to move with you, if you cannot put structure and build a political party, listen, I'm very clear in my head. I have done what no other political party, no other political leader has ever done. Actually, no. I am on par with Eric Williams and Basdio Pandey. I have done what Eric Williams and Basdio Pandey have done. But I've done something harder than both Eric Williams and Basdio Pandey. Because while Basdio Pandey was able to extract all the Indians from the NAR and appeal to their race, I can't appeal to something as simple as your race. Appealing to people's race is easy to get in your section. Indians here, Africans there, and also around there. So that's easier than people trying to appeal to people's patriotism, critical thinking, sense of a better country. If you're voting Indian, you don't care about water in your taps. I mean, you want water in your taps, but that's not what you're voting on. If you're voting African, you really don't care about crime. You want the crime to stop, but that's not the substantial issue. We are campaigning on water in your taps and jobs and education and healthcare. That's what we campaign on. Steve Alvarez needs to understand this. To become the third largest political party in the country, we've done what NAR was an amalgamation of existing parties. So was the People's Partnership. The Progressive Empowerment Party is a start from scratch, not assembled, built. Felicia and I, she's one of the longest serving members as chairman. We used to say, we launched to sea without a ship and built the ship while we were on the water. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And unlike any other political party, we launched with a serious manifesto. And what Steve Alvarez may not know is that www.21policies.com has instructed both the PNM and the UNC and plenty of the other parties that came after who've read or listened to these live videos. I have spoken to the public more than all of the other political parties combined. I have done millions of words written and tens of thousands of hours of live video conversation with the public. Millions of views. More people have seen my face collectively than any other politician in the country. All of that is fact. All of that is provable fact. 21policies.com has instructed the last 10 things the PNM did. It instructed things that the UNC have put into their manifesto, things that did not exist before the Progressive Empowerment Party was launched on January 18, 2017. All of this is fact. All of it is truth. All of it is truth. And even though the Progressive Empowerment Party launched in 2017, I want to tell Steve Alvarez this. I was the founder of the Jericho Project, and that launched in 1994. So we out long time, brother. And he needs to know that I was a social and political activist for quite some time. Now, he is a one-man show, And while he registered a party, and we didn't register a party till 2017, we were doing more politics than he was. Again, I am not arguing with him or trying to bash him. I'm trying to, he came and he gave everybody all of his information. He wanted to say, this is what I did and what I stand for and what I accomplished. I want to talk about mine too, because I need to be able to talk about mine. We've accomplished a lot of stuff and we can claim a lot of stuff. I built a highway. It is because of me, the people of Diego Martin, when they're going home, don't go through what the people of Maraval go through. Because Jack Warner, as Minister of Works, met with me and we put into play my plan, my divided plan, my design plan. I measured the road, and when I wrote it to have it published, it was a plan that was functional, so that when Jack Warner summoned the director of highways and the man in charge of the roads and everybody, and he asked if this will work, and they look at it and they say, boss, it's sounding feasible. And then we all went on the road and we measured it there, and they say, it's pretty practical. And because of that, people who used to spend hours, and I remember because I was living in the West at the time, and spending hours trying to get to Diego Martin from outside of Diego Martin on an afternoon. Traffic would back up beyond Movie Town, beyond Jean Pierre Complex, heading west. Now that don't happen, and plenty of people don't remember. But that's my doing, and I solved that. And the Justice for Children March forced the government to start paying subventions to a lot of these homes. And while it's not a thing to boast about now, knowing what the homes is doing with the money, we fought for the orphans, and we fought for Children's Authority, and we got the children's bill that was languishing in the parliament. 25,000 of us on the road 2 years in a row, got them to go in the parliament and make the children's bill a law and fund the Children's Authority. That it is non-functional is not my fault. I'm not running it. But we got these things done. We got a dangerous dog law. I just spent 2 hours of my life fighting to save the life of my Rottweiler. I know because of a law that I fought for, she's classed as a dangerous dog. I know that if I have to go out in the road with my dog, I have to put a muzzle on her, and that I am liable for her. And while everybody could tell me every story they want to tell me, they wasn't here helping to pack salt in my dog's mouth. I love my dog, but I also know the strength and power of my dog. And I know that every living creature has a bad day. And I don't want to be so cocky and arrogant and irresponsible that on a bad day, the animal that I love could cause grief to somebody else. So, I mean, I'm saying all of that because I've been fighting to defend that from the time it was done. I have Pompex and I have Rottweilers, and I know the difference, and I know a Pompex could bite you up on your ankle, but I know a Rottweiler could take your foot. There's a difference. But that's a story for another conversation. But Steve Alvarez needs to understand that he is a technocrat and he brings his thinking to the table. And he should. He should come and find the people that are successful at the politics. The people who we beat the PNM in DB South. No other, that sounds like a small thing until you realize that no other political leader that formed a brand new party, third party, ever did that. The Congress of the People, never. The Organization for National Reconstruction, never. The Progressive Empowerment Party went down DB South and beat the PNM bad. That's important information. And Steve Alvarez and other political leaders have to understand that. He's calling for a debate. I loudly applaud and underscore that call. I could tell you the value, the estimated inches of free water that fell on the country today, that if you shrunk it down into just reservoirs and retention ponds, the cubic capacity of water that we lost today. So I know, and I'm willing to debate everybody. I'm willing to debate all comers. I'll debate prime ministers from Guyana, Grenada, and Dominica if they board and they want to come to. I don't mind. We have strong researched policies that when people hear it, they just tell you, you're not become the norm. What's become the norm now is, Phillip, I didn't used to like, Phillip, I used to give you pressure. Phillip, I used to criticize you. But you are the only political leader talking sense right now. And I'm not saying that to beat my chest. God in heaven knows if a better person come along right now, I prefer to be John the Baptist and help that person get into office and help that person and keep that person honest. This is not something I wanted to do with my life. God in heaven knows I want to take my family and travel the world. There are things I want to do and see. I'm 55. I see my father, my uncle, my mother, brother in a hospital right now fighting for his life. I know how much years estimate that I have. I don't want to waste it fighting this shit. So it's not like this is what I want. When I watch Bastille Pandey, I think how sad you have no life. You've been opposition leader, you've been prime minister. Oh Christ, write a book. Create the Bastille Pandey Political Institute. Have lectures. Let all of us come and listen to you and ask you questions. That's something to do with the tail end of your life. Not be fighting up for the same shit stain. Politics in Trinidad is nasty. It stink. People tell you Phillip is talk hard, and it is because I talk hard, everybody talking now. It is because I talk hard, everybody brave. And people realize that you could stand up and speak truth to power. And because I cut in that road, they walk in that road behind me. And I get it. I understand. Let's make the joke about the convent girl accent. I wish that I could put on a 4-piece suit with pocket square and come and just talk to you about policies and Trinidadians. Say, yes, that's sounding feasible and sensible. Let's go down that path. When he say you can't talk about the ills, he had to be a madman. And again, not knocking him, but you can't say that. You can't say you can't talk about the ills of the two other parties when the two other parties fighting each other over who molests children in homes and who molesting children in child marriages. How did that become the narrative? And why doesn't the country puke the two of them out? Like how my dog puke out that frog salt toxin from her body with the salt. What salt will it take to get Trinidadians to puke out the PNM and the UNC? Because it is important that we understand that government and opposition shouldn't be arguing about who rape and kill more children. But that's the narrative. Which one more responsible for losing $1 billion for a highway that we're not getting? That's the narrative. So you have to be able to say they have no lesser evil where those two are concerned. And you have a responsibility, and he talking is about the numbers. It'll always be about the numbers. And he's saying that if you pull all the votes from one side, the other side will win. You have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing if I attract more East Indians or more Africans or more Afro-Trinbagonians or Indo-Trinbagonians, however you want to phrase it. I don't know. I can't say you don't vote for me because we have too many Afro-Trinbagonians. We need to balance it up. We need some Indians. We can't do that. We have to look for all. And we have to come for all. 1.4 million. We need all. So we can't say, well, I will chirrup here and push here and push there. We're coming for all. And if in the election, well, because we get half the votes and half the PNM votes, UNC win, that's not a consideration. That's just how the balls run. That's how the cards come down. That's how the chips fall. Stop trying to preempt the democratic process. The democratic process, yes, ours is a shit show. Yes, it's gerrymandered. Yes, it's rigged. Yes, it's voter padded. I understand all of that. But I also understand this. I understand that I was born for a time such as this. I understand that I have the right attributes, the right amount of strength and the right amount of knowledge. I am not the brightest person in the country, but I'm bright. I'm not the strongest person in the country, but I'm strong. And I'm willing to be somebody who would sacrifice time with family, time to make money. I will never forget. I'll give you an example. Maxie Coffey was my editor at the TNT Mirror. Sunday Mirror and TNT Mirror. I used to write a column. My blog was very, very popular, and I was published in every newspaper. And Maxi asked if he could publish my articles in the Mirror. And I said, sure. And there was a time I was the only columnist that was writing both in the weekday and weekend Mirror. And Maxi and I used to talk practically every week. And we used to talk like friends. We used to talk politics, and we used to talk policy. And then PNM won the election. I called Maxi on the phone. I say, mention to your leader that we have a communication system that assists in times of crisis. So we don't mind doing some business with y'all. Maxi said he can't do business with you. I said, why? He said, you run against the PNM. I said, what you mean? He said, you run against the leader. I said, Maxi, I ran as an independent. This is a democratic system. That don't mean I stop being a Trinbagonian, or that I don't have a contribution to make nationally, or that he said, that doesn't matter. And that made the point that it's still a cult, and it's still stink and diseased. And plenty people afraid to take that risk. And I had to just stick a pin. And I take all the loss and all the damage and spend all the money on all the lawsuits, and plenty people afraid of that. Steve Alvarez cannot wear my shoes. Cannot. There are plenty people who end up in politics as a result of something else, who this didn't work out, so I come here. We had a plan. I just saw Ian Griffith's name come up on this, and Ian Griffith and Harry Hunt and Anne-Marie Dulal and we used to meet and talk regularly about how could we create something outside of the PNM and the UNC, and what would that be? And would it be political? Would it be an activist organization? Do we challenge on issues? Do we choose a specific issue? And that evolved over months into the idea that we'd form a political party. And it took a lot of work and a lot of research. I was writing a book. I had a book that I was writing for, it was called Reinventing Trinidad and Tobago. And it was years of research. It's a lot of work was in that book. And that book instructed our manifesto. That was years of work. I could quote judges, DPP, professors, doctors, businessmen, lawyers. I could quote the people who contributed to that book and the research in that book that became 21policies.com. But it started off as Reinventing Trinidad and Tobago, and the manuscript, I still have it. There was a lot of work, and there was a lot of people, and everybody brought all their people together. And it's our people together, and we got an office, and we got our logos done, and we had our banners made, and rented chairs and tables, and printed brochures, and had t-shirts printed, and we launched with a launch, and it was massive. It was well attended. It was properly done, and we had speakers and people making contributions. And we met Felicia Holler that night. She wasn't part of the formation of the party, but we met her that night, and within weeks, she was part of the building of the party. And I mean, the rest is history. But if I go back to read Steve's article from the top, the things I take apart is that it's not enough. I have a partner. I tell people this all the time. I have a partner. We used to go to parties when we was young. And when he walk in the party, he say, I like that girl, I like that girl, and I like that girl. So we young fellas, everybody outside there looking to track girls. But he tell you when he walk in, I like that girl, I like that girl, and I like that girl. So if you end up talking to one of those girls, he vex. He don't know them. He not introduced to them. He have no chance of talking to them. But if you talk to them, he vex. And that's how Steve's sounding. Steve is sounding like, because DPTT was there in 2001, the rest of us should have come and had the decency to talk to him first. But what have you built? What have you built? I spoke to Steve Alvarez regularly in the lead up to 2020, and he knows. And they formed an organization which was a version of People's Partnership. He, Carolyn C. Prasad Bechan, Errol Fabian, and a couple others formed an organization called Better United. And they stayed as their original parties, but they were talking together. Carvin Nicholas, I think, was going to be a part of that, and then he went on his own. And Steve So he knows, and we've been talking, that he should come on board with us. Steve and Carolyn and everybody else who went up for elections, COP and all those parties, that like us, didn't win. Didn't win a seat, is over. You didn't win. Where did all of them go? Tonight, before the show, there was a Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago show with Ian Griffith and Felicia Holland guests as we represent the TSTT workers who have not received their retrenchment money. We represent the ex-county workers who have not received their visa. He represent people who, I mean, we are a big organization now. Satish made me organize a business affiliate of the, announce a business affiliate of the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. When the show started, Paradise Ponds and Landscaping. But that Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago was formed 4 weeks after August 2020, when the election, when we bust, we didn't wear a seat. And 4 weeks after, good. What do we do with all our energy, our resources, our time? We formed the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago is now one of the largest activist organizations in the country. And people come to us. They've given me this thing, Phillip will fix it. People say it. You come, you talk, you act, you do a video, you fix it, you get it done. You're all getting it solved. People in Fonza, man, call me and say, you know, the councillor, I think he in on it, the minister, Stuart Young, the MP, he's stringing us along, we're talking to him, we need your help, put it on blast, I put it on blast. Immediately, the thing blow up. People who own the land that people was trying to thief, that these people call about, they call me, they get in touch with me, they say, hey, this is our land, what's going on here? Put me on to these people and put all the people together. And they resolving it. The minister, Stuart Young, still up in this girl inbox, trying to convince her that he wasn't stringing them along for 3 years. For 3 years, he can't do what I did in one night. One night. 128,500 signatures for Andrea Barrett was the candlelight movement that came out of us not sitting on our hands. We're not stopping. We're not giving up. We're not dropping and saying, all right, next election, we'll come back out. We're not doing that. We're doing live videos every night. We're standing up for the public. We're dealing with issues. Wildflower Park, Paria. Oh God, come on. So you can't compare everybody who go and register 3-4 letters as a political party and say as a political party. We are a political party. We represent people politically. We are fighting for our space. You ought to be African, you ought to be Indian, you ought to be none of the above. Just people who want a better country. And more people are seeing that. And they come into the realization that this political movement is peopled by people who are not giving up. And we're not here to pelt a stone. And we're not looking for an end. We're looking for an opportunity to fix the country. And all of that we did, remember, was during the 2 years of the lockdown. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago stopped the government forcing public servants to take a vaccine. Don't forget that. Don't forget that at all. Every other union, the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago launched with a business affiliates program and a card that gets you discounts by all of our business affiliates. PSA launched one today. Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago end up with all the ex-TSTT workers who have no union, they're being misled. We march with them. And all of a sudden, when the new workers get their termination papers, the Communication Workers Union went midnight and get an injunction. We wake everybody up. We have everybody working now, and that's a beautiful thing. The people have representation now. They have people to go to. The government don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. The opposition has been marginalized, and they're fighting to get out of the corner their own laziness put them in. So they're looking for people to get new faces, to make new noises, to say, hey, we're still relevant. But the Progressive Empowerment Party is making all the noise that people want to hear. And we're not letting stuff go. No, we don't have your resources. No, we don't have the amount of money and the amount of lawyers you have. But we're making plenty more with a little bit that we have. People seeing that too. I'm reading people saying, I'm reading people tagging me. Look what somebody say here. Look what somebody say there. Imagine if this man had the resources of government. And that's true. Because the resources of government could have taken the millions of cubic inches of water that fell on Trinidad and Tobago today and secured it in retention ponds that are based on known quantities. This is the thing that's pissed me off. 1.4 million people could use a certain amount of water. You know you could quantify 8 gallons of water as a shower? You know that? You know you can quantify how much water flushes a toilet, and 4 people in a house, how much flushes you could anticipate a day? You know that? You know you could actually make a known quantity of the minimum and the maximum water capacity usage for a town, a city, a community, a country? You know that? You know that we know how much rain has fallen on Trinidad and Tobago over the last 100 years? Every day, every week, every month, every year, and we know how to estimate averages. Do you know that? Do you know that the flow of water down the rivers that we've built generates enough power to power pumps to pump the same water for free to retention ponds and dams throughout the country? You know that? If Phillip Alexander capable of doing one thing, I promise you this. If you put us in office, I absolutely promise you this, because you hear me talk and you know, because you've seen inside every river, because I've walked inside every river and I've measured and I've shown you, and you have information. We went on mountains and show you the plumes of soil, topsoil in the sea after heavy rain at the mouths of all the rivers, and we showed you what exactly we lose. And we brought the information in public space, and we're spending $500 million a year desalinating seawater that we do not need. And these are all important facts, because you know that you're dealing with people that if they come to office, they plan to decentralize WASA, break it apart, get small businesses. When I say small businesses, people with capacity involved, so that they can invest. Government not looking for money for WASA, government looking for joint venture partners in Diego Martin West and Diego Martin East and Diego Martin Central, because it is something you could make money from. And if people get in water 24/7 a day, they don't mind paying the little $150, $200, and that $150, $200, instead of it going to WASA the waste, it go to you, and WASA get a share. And all the little sub-companies. But we capture, hold, treat, and distribute. And we're not running pipe from Point Lisas to Diego Martin. When people in PT Valley write me and tell me they have no water, I tell them that it's impossible. The water in the aquifers and Chagaramas are millions of years old. And while they're pumping it to use in the blasted water park, that water should be coming straight through Covine, straight through Rich Plain, into Diego Martin. Because that's Chagaramas. That's how it works. Diego Martin is the wettest place in Trinidad and Tobago. And we should never have a water problem in Diego Martin, in any of the Diego Martins. And it is insane that we do. It's insane. But we have ways and means. We've shown you that we would lift up the Brian Lara Promenade and dig a retention pond from the steps of the cathedral to the Hyatt underneath the Brian Lara Promenade, 50 feet deep. That all the water that coming down all them streets in town, that is flood, Port of Spain and South Key, going to be falling inside a retention pond. So flood done, and the water fall inside a place. All the silt and the debris fall to the bottom. The water on the top, you pump it away to reservoirs. Capture, hold, treat, distribute. You'll never want water in this country again. People will sell their water tank, throw it away. Throw away their pump, the land that the water tank and the pump on right now. They could plant garden. They could build a studio, a she shed, a bat cave. They could expand their house. They could just make it into lawn. They get it back. The money that they were spending on the electricity bill every month, the little extra $25 and $30 that was that pump cycling on and off, that gone. Having to call people to bring water because we getting water twice a week, that done. Living off water bottle and every shower have a bucket, that done. Proper, and that's one thing. Tell you that same thing for education, tell you that same thing for public health, tell you that same thing for jobs, tell you that same thing. We said, call back, recall every ambassador, every high commissioner, we only need 5. European Union, Asia, Africa, Americas, and United Nations. That's it. That's it. They have 2 jobs, only 2 jobs, quantifiable jobs. Sell Trinidad business to the world, bring foreign direct investment to Trinidad and Tobago. And not everything have to be oil and gas. We could be sewing jeans, making car parts. We could be bottling beers. We could be doing anything. We have plenty good labor in Trinidad and Tobago. I am the person who told you a barrel of oil is 120 US. A barrel of pepper mash, a same size barrel, is $2,500. We could be growing pepper. Pepper is growing wild. Pepper is growing rock. Pepper is growing wall. We could be growing pepper on all that county land. 78,000 acres of county land. All they want to grow cannabis. All they want to grow hemp. Grow freaking pepper. Every army in the world, every police force in the world using pepper spray. Not to mention every housewife of Atlanta and America and Miami and wherever. Everybody plant pepper. We could dominate the world in pepper mash. And then in quick time start to get into the packaging of pepper spray. Trinidad and Tobago could dominate the world in that. That's just one thing. We could fix all of it. We'd rather be putting things in St. James and Woodbrook to catch these Blue Waters bottles. We just wouldn't have it again. Blue Waters bottles, all our water company and things will close down because people getting water running out the tap. Normal. At 3 o'clock in the morning, you could send the water boiling hot to clean the taps. You could do these things. We understand how First World works. So when you say a progressive government, you ought to know what that means. A progressive government means all of the children, whether you're coming from Beetham or Bayshore, you get the same education, the same high world standard education. You get that. And then you plan tertiary education based on the needs of the country so that people who can't afford university, you don't just create gate and dollar for dollar and all this bullshit. You create it based on educating people that could come back and serve the country for 3, 4, 5 years at a reduced salary. So you pay for their education. All the big companies do that. This is not rocket science. Nestle and Lever Brothers and Mars Inc., this is what they do. They take workers that have a demonstrated capacity and send them to university and bring them back and say, well, I'm not paying you what a master's earn as yet because you had to pay back something for that, but then you have a master's and a doctorate. We understand these things. We understand how to plan. Keith Rowley told the world, we can't grow food here. He's a madman. Just a hydro farm, growing in multiples of hydroponic farms, more food per square foot than the country has ever grown. And there was a time, up to the 70s, Trinidad was a net food exporter. Wayne Ram of Trissa Hydro Farm, I will create a university for him and people like him to come and show you how they will come in your yard and take the space that used to be the water tank and set you up enough garden growing that you pick in your own side, your own pimento, your own bhaji, your own melange, and you picking that in your yard growing normal. Normal, and you're not losing any space, and you're saving hundreds of dollars a month. This country could be food self-sufficient. One breadfruit tree feeds a family of 4 for 75 years. There are breadfruit trees in this country knocking dog. We live on 13% of the land in Trinidad and Tobago. We could be food self-sufficient. We could be a net food exporter in as little as 10 years. But the government and the opposition, the PNM and the UNC, have excelled at fooling their followers. And that I could agree with. And that is why I work so hard to inform, educate, and empower every night. And that's what Steve Alvarez and people like him cannot do. And every now and then you can pelt out a nice sounding article. It sounds good on paper till you scratch. When you scratch it, you realize something's missing. I'll tell you what's missing. When you say, what has happened since then is almost everyone who thinks they can contribute towards a better Trinidad and Tobago, rather than coming together under one organization, they form political parties grasping for individual attention and media coverage. Let me explain something to Steve Alvarez. If I get a 20,000 people to follow me, and Gary get a 20,000 people to follow him, and you get a 20,000 people to follow you, at some point, the PNM and UNC will get reduced to 20, 30,000 people themselves. Because nobody has to be voting for any party by divine right. I'm not fighting for media coverage because I get none. When I get media coverage, it's because my individual attention that you refer to is so powerful that it has eclipsed what the media is offering. I did that on Carnival Sunday night in Paria. On Carnival Sunday night, when we were getting 1 million views, CNC and TV6 wasn't getting people to listen to Calypso. People was in Paria with me. I'm not fighting for media attention. I'm bringing the public to us. The failure of third parties in Trinidad and Tobago is perhaps based on the leaders' ignorance of the mathematics. No, Steve. The failure of third parties in Trinidad and Tobago is that third parties rise up at election time and then disappear, like yours. You should be working every time I see you, Steve Alvarez. You come in grab and go all the time and shop. And that is grab and go exists because the Citizens Union exists. It exists because we are a cooperative. It exists because we don't stop. It exists because right now while I'm talking to you, Sati Shamsaran is behind the scenes making sure this video makes sense. And Felicia Hall and Ian Griffith just did their part with the TSTT workers. And Sahai De Silva is on the phone with everybody and she's preparing for tomorrow for all the people who message and saying, how can I join? How can I donate? We have whole crews and teams, Sean Sunarayan and his team operating in the Point Lisa's office and other offices. We have multiples of offices now that are functional and open every day. David Welch running the business affiliates. He's the head of the youth army, running the business affiliates and making videos and advertising for people. We're not stopping. The thing that third parties do wrong is they put up a name, they put up a sign, they put up a post on Facebook and think people gonna come running. Plenty of people who join the Progressive Empowerment Party in the beginning with their ass on fire. We watch each other and we say, you could tell the people who are not going to last. They come in the room fully formed, ass on fire. Like if we reach, flick the switch, we in government. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And we in it for the long haul. The people who come in, running on that treadmill, just burn out fast. Both the UNC and PNM control about 60 to 70% of political support in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if it's that high. If I watch the numbers for the last two elections, the last election, 500,000 people, just under 500,000 people out of 1.1 million registered voters voted. That's less than 50%. That's less than 50%. So if you leave the PNM and UNC alone, and you just get 251,000 people to vote for you, you win. For a third party to win a general election, in Trinidad and Tobago, that party must attract supporters from both major political parties. No, it's helpful. What that political party must do is wake up the nation. It must become politically sexy. It must be the bandwagon that people want to be a part of. Yes, I think this will fix it. When you wake people up that way, it's not just about pulling Indian and pulling African. It's about pulling Trinidadian and Tobagonian and saying, yes, I want to live in that country where my children could play in the yard safe and my elders could lie down and go in the drugstore and they get their pension and they could afford their medicine and our money is not toilet paper, that we gain value for money for my units of work, that we all living in peace and harmony. Look, right now they have a crime spree going on in Rowley and Imbert community. Nobody talking about the constituency. All them big place, churches, chicken, arties, starlight drugs, and again, robbed right now. 5 fellas gun toting, rob grocery and thing. And that's going on right now. Try to bus up the Scotiabank, opposite Forwards police station in Diego Martin, try to take out the ATM, all kind of thing. That's what's going on right now. The ills are already known and highlighting them. There's nothing to encourage their supporters to leave their base. I don't think that is true. A viable third party must be led by people of integrity, yes. Intelligence, yes. Varying levels of experience, yes. Progressive patriots, yes. The one-person leadership must be replaced with a leadership team. That's nonsense. I'll tell you why that's nonsense. In every ward, there's a general. There's somebody in charge whose work is to lead. You need somebody who could lead. You can't run that by committee. Politics is a war, and you have to fight that war and win. And you need people who clearly understand, and you have to be able to identify your generals and your captains and your majors and your teams and break it up and get it done. But you're not going to solve problems by waiting every 15 minutes, organize the committee. You can't. Trust me on that. Those who served under previous administrations where there were clouds of impropriety and serious allegations of misconduct must clear their name. Bullshit. You can't clear your name. I'm not taking that. If there was allegations of impropriety and misconduct, sit it out. This is a country where Akil Chambers I tell people the other night, DNA in his bottom, DNA in the pants, DNA that they harvest, that they sent to check, all 3 pack of DNA went missing, Trinidad and Tobago. $600 million worth of cocaine went missing from inside a police station, Trinidad and Tobago. Where a transport company had their own private police driving car, masquerading as TTPS. Nobody ain't get locked up, nobody ain't get charged. You telling me about clear name in this country? I miss me with that, eh? The leader that would be successful in uniting our country and restructuring our country towards peace and prosperity must be capable of winning a series of debates. Yes, absolutely agree. And I look forward, Steve Alvarez, if it's just you and me, brother, book the airtime, you know, because I come in. For progress and change, there must be a coming together of our best minds. Yes, that's what's happening under the Progressive Empowerment Party, brother. There must be vision. Of course there's vision here. There must be realistic approaches to restructuring the economy. There must be modern local government reform. No, we want to abolish local government. The Progressive Empowerment Party is so progressive, is so empowering, that we want to abolish local government, abolish the regional health authorities, abolish the THA, abolish the police precinct model, abolish all of it, and create a constituency board of supervisors, so that each constituency could run as a state funded at budget time with a supervisor for public works, public utilities, education, healthcare, and security. So that they are responsible internally and their own board of supervisors within the constituency of 35,000 people. Every 35,000 people will get somebody in charge of their roads, their water, their street lights, their education, their healthcare, and their police. So that all of a sudden, if they go Martin West not working, somebody inside of there not working. But it's not the whole country going to fall down. That, brother, that is vision. When you're ready to talk vision-led leadership, come to the Progressive Empowerment Party. There must be a commitment to return every square inch of land throughout the country to a safe place for all our citizens. Besides talking about the maritime security wall to end the flow of drugs and the unstuffing of containers on ports, the only time the Progressive Empowerment Party talks about crime is the setup of an internal affairs unit within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, peopled and operated by professionals from outside of Trinidad and Tobago. And we must purge the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service of the lawless and the rogue officers we like to talk about all the time, so the lawful, decent police officers could not only go about their business doing their jobs, we could reward them handsomely with bonuses. But that's all we talk about crime. Because we know that crime is a function of a failing society and poverty. In Trinidad and Tobago, crime is also a function of corruption and the drug trade. So if we deal with those things, crime as we know it will end. If young men on the block actually had work to do, you can't close off the sea where the young fishermen from Kokori used to fish. You can't block them from the foreshore all the way to Westmoreland and tell them you no longer have access to the sea. So now you're sitting on the block twiddling your thumbs, and when they get into wrongdoing, ask them why they didn't find a better life. You took their life away. What is now Peak's fancy mall of a gas station used to be a tiny little gas station where the sea used to lap up against right there. The sea used to wet Western Main Road, right where Peaks is. And that's where all them fishermen pirogues used to come and get their fuel. Now we have the children of those fishermen who should have grown up in that industry and feeding the nation, wiping windows by Superfarm. There are many whose dream is to be Prime Minister. They run after every passing car barking loudly. They garner much more attention than the few focus on solutions. Now this here is upsetting on many levels, Steve. Because I don't know if you are throwing a tantrum because not enough people paying attention to you and your solutions. I want to tell you, the place for you to come with your solutions is inside the Progressive Empowerment Party, in a party that is built on solutions. And we will give you an opportunity to speak daily. And people will get to know your name and your length and your measure. People will understand you and what you stand for. But you can't be playing your piano in the middle of the Sahara and cuss people that they're not coming to the Sahara to hear you play. They are not the solutions we seek. We need our thinkers, our youth, our dreamers, and our people who wake up each day with a love of country to step up. That's all bullshit. It's high-sounding bullshit. It's like It's like the Arsenal playing Chelsea and the game not going good and the coach watch the bench and he ain't like what he see and he stand up and he look in the stadium. He look up in the stand. He say, you come. You and you come. I'm putting all you on the field. You can't do that. It still can't work so. You think it could work so in your head, but it can't. It has to be people who have the same goals. You must have people of integrity, of ethics. You have people who stand for the same things. You can't get in the government. We think mash up NAR and mash up the People's Partnership. You plan for the wedding and you mash up in the marriage because you have different ideals. We in the Progressive Empowerment Party, we just argue and fight till we agree about things. We came up with as our policy for religion and gender-based sexuality and those things. We say, we don't ask who you're praying to and we don't care who you're lying down with in the night. It's not our business. But we discussed those things at length. People ask me, what's your position on abortion? What's your position on the death penalty? Trinidad and Tobago is a nation state of people. What's your position on the CCJ? My position on the CCJ, I was very clear. I say we cannot leave the Privy Council as yet. Too many of our judgments are overturned at the Privy Council. 17% of the people in the last poll supports a CCJ. The people of Trinidad and Tobago, until they are comfortable with our judicial system and our administration of justice, you can't force that change on them. But my position on the CCJ and my position on abortion and my position on the death penalty does not instruct the country. What instructs the country, the country should instruct the government through a referendum. Those are national issues. And put that to test referendum with that. How do people feel about abortion? How do people feel about death penalty? How do people feel about CCJ? And a referendum is not old talk. A referendum is a vote by the public, and the people, when they say this is what they want, the government have no choice but to do that. You don't get to go back and debate it. The people send the message to you, we want the death penalty, or we don't want it. And you carry that out so that you as government have no say in those things. Your job, never forget, as government, is to manage the will of the people in the administration of their affairs. That's what Trinidad and Tobago is. A collective cooperative. It is what all the people of Trinidad and Tobago own. It is where we live. And we give you the responsibility to keep it working sensibly. Steve Alvarez, I want to tell you something. You're right and you're wrong. Unity is the key, not a plethora of new political parties. You're right and you're wrong. Unity is great, but unity for unity's sake never works. A plethora of parties happens because we don't agree with each other. Everybody have their own view. Everybody have their own people around them that may not be allowing people to get together. There are things that happen that you can't just force a thing to fit because you think that's what will look good in the window. And the only interest you have is fighting the PNM and the UNC, winning at all costs. That is an idea that people share, that the electorate is stupid, and I don't agree. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think the electorate is stupid. I think the electorate was left for a long time with only racist options. So the Afro-Trinbagonians got in their section, and the Indo-Trinbagonian got in their section. The rest of the country got disgusted and stayed out of it. If you've never been able to create something to bring them back into it and to get the Indo-Trinbagonians to leave the racism for the safety of something that is not the Afro-Trinbagonians that they've been taught to hate politically and vice versa, if you are not able to create something that captures their minds and their hearts and to get them to vote for you, don't try to trick them with some false notion of unity. That's not unity. That's ganging up. That's something else, brother. That's what y'all tried to do with Better United. That was a ganging up. If y'all had believed in the same things together, y'all would have joined together and become something that the people could look up to. There are politicians like yourself, Steve Alvarez, that I respect. I don't think that you understand leadership, and I don't think that you understand politics. But I think you understand governance. I think you're a good technocrat. I think you're a patriot and somebody I would like to have on my team. But that's up to you. I can't force you to join. I can't force you to understand what I'm saying, but we're doing this every night. And we have a lot of good people with us and more good people coming. And I want to say to you, Steve, and every other political leader outside there, we are open to conversations with everybody. We are not dealing with recycled politicians. We are not dealing with people who have questionable pasts. We can't sully our own good name just for the sake of winning. We're not going to be doing things just for winning. Trinidad has to change, and it's not going to change election night. Trinidad have to change, and you need a government that has captured the hearts and minds of the people, where it is no longer as an Afro-Trinidad, Indo-Trinidad, Dokia Trinbagonian. I am a Trinbagonian, and this is my government, and this is what a contract with Trinidad and Tobago. We agreed to fix these 10 things. 10. We tell you we coming into office, no more than 14 cabinet positions. No more. Those hundreds of millions of dollars we will save. Just by that, just by pulling back all those wasted ambassadors and high commissioners. People ask me, where are you going to get the money from? The money is right there now. You don't need to raise a single tax. In fact, you could lower taxes. If you take the corruption out of this thing, if you cancel the wasteful prisoner transport contract and build the magistrate court outside the jail cell, you save hundreds of millions. If you cancel all right now, we are working to do a freedom of information request in all ministries to find out all the buildings that the state, through the fire service, the police service, every government office is renting from friends and financiers of these parties. Because if you terminate all of that, you know what COVID taught us? You don't need all them office. COVID taught us you don't need all them building. And the PNM and the UNC have plenty people going to bed at night living off rentals from the state. Yeah? And all that are done. But you're not going to get that, you're not going to get to a place where you could do all that until you get the people to understand that we have to go forward together. That we have 30,000 registered farmers, we have 68,000 acres in Caroni, we have 15,000 acres in Petrotrin, we have 12,000 acres from Clico. Let's put all that together, let's create a farming a plan. This is what grows here, this is what we need. Trinidadians consume this, we consume that. They have things we can do to influence the diet, because the wheat-based diet coming out of Europe and the States is not the healthiest thing, one. And two, look what's going on right now. The world have 10 more weeks of wheat. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the things that matter. We're talking shit in our parliament. Our parliament is a circus. It's a joke. I want to fix even that. All that could do. And I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago, every Saturday we meet at noon, building a massive organization. We are building a movement for real change, a progressive, empowering party. This movement, the Progressive Empowerment Party, is an army of lions led by a lion. But I say all the time, I don't have to lead. But if you want the seat that I sit in, do what I do it. Work harder than me. Show up. Be willing to sacrifice time with your family and your business and your friends, and come and show up and work. Do this all day, and then at night put aside 2-3 hours to do live videos to educate and empower the people. You can't just want the priest. I used to go to a church, the priest had a sign on his parking spot. If you park here, be prepared to preach. I have no more interest in fighting for my seat. You want to lead? Come and do it better than me. That's all. Plenty of people think leadership is a role. It's not. It's a job. It's a verb. Leadership in the Progressive Empowerment Party, everybody tell you. They make a joke when I show up in the office. They say when I touch down, it's like a hurricane reach. Nothing that out of place stays out of place. Nothing that not working. If a light bulb not working, man on the road. People getting called out, carpenters, electricians. One time I reached, and anything that wasn't working, getting fixed now. Why that fridge not working? Call Joey Correa. Joey, come down, get this fridge working. We put in this fridge here, take that fridge out, get it out of here. If it's not working properly, listen, we operate like a party on the move. When we sit down to meet, the first couple minutes, we talk a little bit of shit, and then we get down to the issue of this is where we are, this is what we're doing, and this is what we could be doing. That's the Progressive Empowerment Party. That's what made it grow to the massive organization it is right now, where I don't get enough meetings with the team that leads this party. But that's all right. I know that we're in a good place. And every single day, the amount of people that are coming on board, and good people. And we don't have to agree on everything. There's a saying, if we agree on everything, one of us not necessary. That's a fact. So your position on something could be different to mine. Prove your case. Convince me. That's it. And I promise Trinidad and Tobago, I didn't set out to sell myself as a prime minister. I never did. And even if I were in the seat in the office of prime minister, I'd never see myself as having a divine right to it. But I'd make sure that when we leave office, that everything we set out to do and more would be done. I want a legacy. I want a reputation. I want people to say, that man changed the country. That party changed the country. That government changed the country. Our history turned 180 degrees. We became self-sufficient, food self-sufficient. We used to have no water. When I ask people in Diego Martin, I remember when the traffic used to back up to Movie Town? No. I want that. You forget. Phillip fix it. You forget. The people in the disabled community, remember when they had no parking spots for you all? No. Then blue spots became ubiquitous. Phillip will fix it. We'll fix it. We will fix big and small things. We will fix everything. We will make sure not one of our people be left behind. We're not humanizing and identifying, personalizing any specific issue. Every issue is for all of the people. All. So nothing is being set aside and set apart for any specific friend or financier. Everything goes into the public space. Today I copied something from the Starbrook News, where the tenders that were set for something they're trying to build, they published the 20 tenders. They publish every company and the amount they tender, so that you know what they're choosing from. I also downloaded in China, where 2 mayors were executed today from 2 different provinces for corruption. And I want both of those things to be things that we do. Yeah, corruption should be a capital crime in a country that lost $3 trillion. Our people shouldn't be suffering and scrambling right now. We shouldn't have the amount of homeless we have. This country shouldn't be failed and a failing state, but it is. And you could deny and you could lie and you could stand up and listen to Stuart Young and Keith Rowley lie to you. The revolving door of lies that Imbert, Young, and Rowley told this country in the past month should be a jailable offense. Trinidad and Tobago is nowhere. We don't know where we're going. Now they're talking hydrogen. In 2027, we'll be a leading supplier of hydrogen. Bullshit. Peru just eclipsed us for natural gas. Nobody even knew Peru was a player. But everybody putting their head down and walking while our government stunting and playing the ass. And everybody leaving us behind. Trinidad's a joke. It's a rotted joke. So when you're talking debate is not saying if Johnny left home with 5 mangoes and he ate 2 and he gave 1 to Susie, how much mangoes he have left. That's not debate. Debate is an understanding of where we are, how we come to be here, where we need to be, and how we're going to get there. And if you don't know those things on the majority of issues that it takes to run the country, don't come at me, you know, because I'll embarrass you all. I don't stop studying. I don't stop talking. I don't stop thinking. We are always researching. We are always looking for a better way. I have people like Kendall Baggy and Anne-Marie Dulal behind me. You think I play the ass? You think they will follow me if I was talking shit? These people don't stick. I tell you, I have a man like Satish Ramsaran. If he don't understand something tonight, he will find a way to know it by tomorrow. These people don't stick. This is my team. This is what I have around me. I can't play the fool. I can't fall asleep on the wheel. That's good. That's how it must be. You must be an army of lions led by a lion. Don't fall asleep on the wheel. So those of you who think that this is just ganging up for ganging up's sake, don't call that unity. You want unity? Bring what you have and measure it against what we have. And if you think that there is a way for us to work together and we agree on the same things, then morph your stuff into ours. Tell us what you want. What do you want? You want to be a member of parliament? You want to be a minister? Which ministry you want and why? What makes you think that you're capable? There are other things that you could do, but let's talk about what you want and see if we can fit you there. And that's the truth. Because we need to get to a place where we're waking all the people of Trinidad and Tobago up, not just by words, but by actions. And that's why Phillip will fix it, resonating in the country. Because we're fixing stuff. We're not just talking it. We're here, present, every day. Indian arrival weekend, when everybody went down the islands with their family and they went Mayara and they went Toko and they post little pictures on Facebook. I saw my family had to sacrifice because Phillip had to work. We lead by example. Leadership in this party is a job. It's a verb. We don't stick. Yeah? So you want to come on board and you want to be part of something that grows and succeeds and wins. You want to change the dynamic and change the narrative and you want to change the paradigm and you want people to vote issues and not race. Give them something to vote for. That's what we're doing. That's what Felicia Holder, Sean Sunara and Satish Ramsaran wakes up every day and do. For free. At cost to them. Under the most disturbing of circumstances in a country where people use law and they use all manner of things to victimize and silence and try to frighten you out of politics. But again, it's an army of lions led by a lion. When they see Lima Wilkinson stepping up and talking, that's my deputy political leader. She was one of the speakers on the night we launched this party. We have a strong team. Can it be bigger? Can it be better? Yes and yes. And the more good people come on board, the better it gets. Precious Cruikshank came on board, head of the women's arm. David Welch came on board, head of the youth arm. And now they're in proper good hands and that functional and going. Sahai De Silva come on board. She take control of the whole donation arm, finance arm. She gone with that. Fantastic. Because every time you get one good person on board, they take off a chunk of your responsibility, you get to add more to your plate and grow it in the next level. If you want to be a part of growing the Progressive Empowerment Party, if you want to be part of the Citizens Union, the largest activist organization in the country that have all them other unions right now trying to find what is their reason for existing, if you want to be part of something that really making a change, then don't just write down what you're thinking. Come and get involved and be a part of it. Tell me, Phil, you know what? I want to help you. I want to help you rescue Wildflower Park. I want to help you rescue Adam Smith Square. I want to help you get justice for the divers. I want to help you get the 128,500 signatures, the 5 issues that you all raised. I want to help you that become law. We have a lot of things on right now. We have a lot of irons in the fire. We have a lot of things on the burners. There's a lot to be done, and if you come on board and you bring your skill set and you bring your knowledge and your ability, there is work to be done. And if we could eclipse the government and the opposition outside of government and opposition, if the work that we could do is bigger and better than anything that they're doing while they're being paid the hundreds of millions of dollars, I trust the people of Toronto to be able to stand together as one people under one flag and vote us into office. And if you want to be a part of that, that's not a gang, that's a unity. That's real unity. Unity for change. The best kind of unity they have. Yeah, so that's about it. If you want to be involved and you want to work in your community, Satish Ramsaran is also, besides being a deputy political leader, he's the party organizer. Him, Esther Cruikshank, and Lima McLeod Wilkinson, another deputy political leader, are working to organize the whole country. Reach out to Satish at 796-8172, 796-8172. If you would like to be part in your constituency, in your community, to get ready for elections. We want you on board. Of course, finance, we need donations. We need all the help we could get. And if you are somebody who would like to make a donation to help us, Felicia Holder, 769-4590. I want to make a small apology as some housekeeping tonight, because every time I talk in, and I talk a lot and I talk fast, and sometimes I say things and come across wrong. Every night when I finish do my videos, there are a couple men that I look forward to their opinions, not their support, not their endorsement, but throw dryer. So, excuse me. I know what's in that. Fellas like Derek Chin, Movie Town, Vernon De Lima, when they message me, Stephen Matterson, when they message me and say, that was a good show, I like what you talk about there, I like that angle that you came from, what about this? And give me more information than I have. Those people are the giants we're building this on. I want to thank them. And I want them to hear me say that out loud, especially Derek Chin, because he's a new contributor, but he's prolific. And I look forward to his contributions. Yeah? So until tomorrow.